Whoa, you have one? Wow, that's
See?
from like the actual Venice Gold Gym.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's legendary. That's really cool.
I know it was really nice to go down there like a week after a competition and work out on Muscle Beach and like feel like I fit in. You know? I was all ripped and lean. I was like, yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Of course it is.
Always, man. Always. It's always a
We're gonna
pyramid
sell you a
scheme.
timeshare at the end.
In fact, I have pyramids to sell. Camera good? On?
Yep, camera's
Ready
good.
to go?
Ready to go.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I super appreciate you guys showing up on a Saturday, and I appreciate that, and I value your time as much as we value ours. So let's get right into it. My name is Ryan Nolan. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a nutritionist, and I'm also a father. And I always like to really tell people that I also have about 11 years sober because that's really important to me, and it's really important to my health journey and what I've learned about this.
My name is Dr. Aaron Goodsight. Many of you know I'm a rehab chiropractor. I specialize in helping the population age gracefully and do the things that they love for the long term. I'm an avid rugby player. I have also, not sober, but not an addict, but also have had a weight loss journey and a journey with eating disorders and things of that nature. So I'm here to share my experience with that as well. All right.
Go. I was gonna say, I also like to always say to people, what I do for a living is through movement and food, I transform lives. Right? I've personally lost over 100 pounds and on this health journey, and it really helps to have that kind of insight and helping people. And I was a chef for about 14 years before I became into this profession, so I really understand that you don't need to eat bland food all day to have a good life, right? You can season your food and have a good time, and it's really important. Totally. And today we're going to talk about longevity. So let's have you take it away.
Yeah, and so what longevity is, raise your hand if you know what longevity means. All right, let's hear it. Aaron.
Oh, okay. How long you live well.
Boom. That's it. How long you live well, right? It's a function of lifespan and health span. And what we want to do is give you the tools today to maximize your health span. Okay? And that's the amount of time you can do all the fun things you want to do and not really stress over it, right?
So in the last 100 or so years, medicine has really increased our lifespan, right? We now live longer. We live much longer lives than we used to, mostly due to antibiotics. That's a big part of it. And so what we want to teach you is how to increase your health span. And like he was saying, it's about being able to continue to do the things you love, right? A lot of people live that extra 20 years now, but between ages 62 to 82, a lot of people can't do the things they love anymore. And so that's what we want to teach you.
Yeah, and we're going to give you our absolute best of tips, tricks, and evaluations to let you know where you are along this process. Does that work for you guys? A little more enthusiasm, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So now, by a show of hands, who has ever dealt with pain? Right. Every day. Every day. So who has dealt with pain that has come and gone, and some things have worked, but they're kind of transient or passing. Then the pain comes right back. Yeah. Yeah. And who's frustrated with that? Who looks at a task and says, I don't know if I want to do that because I'm not sure how I'm going to feel tomorrow or how I'm going to feel next week. I love it.
Still do it, yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we talk a lot about these things, and most of us deal with pain. Most of us struggle with feeling strong again or staying active as we used to, and most of us want to continue to do those things every day, right? Like, I know for me, like my long-term why is I never want to get helped off a toilet in my old age. I watched my great-grandma do that for 13 years. She was in a nursing home, moved in and out of beds. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that, right? And so when I think about like why I want to do things, or why I want to go to the gym, or why I want to eat right, or why I want to stay active and play with my kid, I think about that. I just don't want to be helped off a toilet, right? And so that's real motivating, right? Keeps me moving, keeps me grooving, and keeps me going. And the truth is that like motivation can be really fleeting. We can have a good idea. Look at New Year's. We're like, yeah, I'm going to do 100 new things and I'm going to be a different person. And then like week 3 of January, I have my best week of the year because everyone's like, I can't do this. This sucks. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. Motivation is a great tool to get started. But we got to figure out that long-term reason, that emotional attachment to why we want to do these things.
Right. And with that same thing, it goes with recovery from injury or injury prevention, right? A lot of times we're like, oh, this hurts. I want to deal with it. But then we go on YouTube and we find something, or we go on the internet and there's like, try this new massage gun, try this new X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, right? And it works for a little bit. And the thing is, it's not that it doesn't work, right? Because it does. The problem is why we get stuck in this cycle of, like you said, every day or comes and goes for years is because they only fix the surface level issue, right? They don't get to the root cause and create, like Ryan was saying, the motivation essentially, right? Which, if to do anything successful, to get healthy for long term, to get out of pain, you need that motivation and you need the root cause. And we want to sift that out for you guys.
I always like something that you said to me that's always really stuck with me. A lot of times we treat the culprit, not, or we treat the victim, not the culprit. The pain a lot of times is the victim, right? Like, oh, my knee hurts, right? And I'll speak from my experience. A lot of times my knee will hurt. And I figured out when I go get an adjustment, and then it's really my foot and my toe. We have to adjust my foot, retrain the arch. All of a sudden, all my knee pain goes away, right? But if I had spent all this time focused on the knee pain and trying to wear a knee brace and trying to prevent that, instead of looking at where it was coming from, I would just be stuck for years. And I know that happened to me a lot of times. I had a pretty serious back injury. I used to competitively power lift, and I disintegrated my L5 S1, and it was pretty brutal. And I was in a lot of pain, and it hurt to pick up my kid. It hurt to walk. It hurt to do anything. And a lot of times I focused on like, oh, how can I get my back to loosen up? But in reality, I ended up shedding 60 pounds, changing my diet, stop eating inflammatory foods. Lo and behold, all that stuff went away, right? And that was a bigger culprit. Like, that was the bigger issue with it, more than just the back pain itself, right? Like, yeah, I had a traumatic injury, but it wasn't what kept it in pain.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about things you can do to fix that. And we're going to do some things to kind of sift out where you may be. That's all right. Where you may be along this spectrum and places you want to start. Does that sound good to you guys? All right. So what we know is that as we age, there's a few things that are the leading causes of death and disability, right? And I hate to get dark, but it's true because we're all going to go through that process. Just like Brian said, it's that 62 to 85 range that we're really focusing on, right? And what we know is that as we age, if you don't train, if you don't exercise, eat well, your risk of tons of things like cognitive decline, muscle wasting, things like that are going to hold you back. And that's what leads to injuries. So, what we know is that when you look at cognitive decline, you have Alzheimer's, dementia, depression, loss of balance, all sorts of things. And you have chronic pain, which we kind of talked about. Then you have falls and injuries. You also have chronic disease like cardiovascular disease, which is actually the number one cause. And what we know about all of these things is that nutrition, rehab chiropractic, and exercise or resistance training and cardiovascular training is one of the leading things to prevent all of these. So if you think about the magic pill, all it is motivation and guidance.
Yeah, man. If I had told you there was a pill that could increase your lifespan by 10 to 15 years, reduce overall cause mortality by about 50%, and guarantee you that you stay active for the rest of your life, would you take that pill every day? Yeah, right? What if I told you it was 30 minutes of exercise a day? Now all of a sudden people are like, I don't know, man. That sounds like work, yeah, right? But that's the truth, man. They did this huge long-term study in China over 20 years with like 10,000 subjects, which was huge in terms of studies, right? And it really was just 30 minutes of raised heart rate activity could dictate how long you're going to live and how well you're going to live. And a lot of times it's just as simple as walking. It doesn't need to be crazy complicated. You don't need to run to be an athlete. If you like to run, great, do it. I'm not a fan of running. I test it once every 6 months. I'm like, can I still do a 5K? I do it, and I'm like, it was horrible. See you again in 6 months. Right? But learning little things and learning little habits are really the key to changing your life. It's always really interesting. Like, I talk about my health journey, right? 8 years ago, I was 100 pounds heavier. I didn't work out. I didn't do anything, right? And, when I say that to people are like, 8 years, that sounds like a lot of work. And I'm like, hopefully you're lucky enough to live another 8, 20, 50 years, right? And you get the ability to continue to work out, and you get the ability to do these things, right? And so once you start to reframe it and think about it like that, you're like, cool, I get to be active today. I get to be fit. For me, it's I get to be an active dad. That's what started my whole journey. I saw a picture of me on Facebook that my friend posted. It was a really bad angle. I meant to bring it today, but like 100 pounds heavier. I'm like this. I'm like, ugh. And then my wife was pregnant, and I was like, I got to do something, man. I got to do something. And it wasn't easy at first. It sucked. I didn't know what I was doing at the gym. I didn't know anything. Ended up hurting myself, injuring myself, making a lot of bad decisions. And then I ended up studying about it. I was like, what should I do? What could I do? And one day along that journey, I was in the gym, and I was like, I just want to be in the gym all day. I don't want to do this kitchen work or run a catering company anymore. I just switched everything, and now here I am. And it really doesn't take huge Herculean efforts to change your life. It really is the small little habits that are going to change your life. And that's really what we want to talk about. And I think up next, Aaron's going to show us some exercises that we can practice real quick, And there's two always really startling facts that really helps keep me on the correct path for health and wanting to help people in health. And this one's from an insurance agent I know. And she was telling me that the average American spends $187,000 between ages 62 and 82 on preventable healthcare issues. And that's things like, long-term care and, in-home support and injuries and knee replacements and hip replacements and all these things that are pretty preventable. And the other fact is, if you break a hip over at the age of 60, statistically, you have 12 months to live. Because once you break a hip, most people don't recover from it. And that's startling. So how do we prevent that? How can we be aware of that? What can we do today? What can we kind of think about that?
Yeah. And so, you guys ready to move?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to do a couple of tests just to kind of see where we're at. All right. And so one of the major tests that we know is a predictor of longevity and health and strength is the get up and go test. So what we're going to do is let's have everyone move the chairs in the back row back as to the wall, if you can. All right. And I'm going to grab a chair and I'm going to demonstrate. And then we're all going to grab a chair back here. And then if everybody wants to grab one of these chairs that are in here, we're just going to use it for a hot second. No, no. We're going to sit in those chairs for a second. Yeah. So if everybody wants to grab a chair and sit in it.
We got enough chairs? Yeah, I think we got enough chairs. Look, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to move these up too so we have a little more space. The get up and go test is a test, super simple. All we're going to do is start in a sitting position, and we're going to stand up as quickly as we can and walk 5 feet. And so how that looks, right? And we don't want to trip. We don't want to feel off balance. We just want to be able to do it. So when you guys are ready, go for it. Good. And let's do a few. We're guesstimating here. So let's try it a couple more times. I'll do it with you. Yeah. And let's go once more. How's this feeling for everybody? And up. Good. All right. So
Yeah.
I heard some feedback. What'd you say?
It's warming my back up already.
It's warming your back in a good way, or?
In a good way.
Okay, good.
I'm having back issues.
Okay. So getting up and moving helps.
Yes.
There you go.
Exercise always helps.
Always. That's awesome.
It's just in the middle of the night getting out of that bed in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that kind of tells us, right, is that may be a muscular thing, right? And when we think about muscular things, you have imbalances and you can have tears. But for what it sounds like is there's some tension somewhere and some deactivation or lack of facilitation other places, right? And when you think about the joints and the muscles, it works as a pulley system. And if one side of that pulley is always tight, then the other side is going to be loose and that wheel is going to get yanked around. And that's where, you might feel the pain, but why exercise is good for balancing things out. All right. Did anybody else have issues or feel good about that? That's awesome. Great. If there's a fire, you can get out of your house. So now let's have everyone stand up. And I'm going to ask you to take your shoes off as long as you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you can take your shoes off standing up, even better. Good. All right. And so let's take some space so we're not all next to each other because we're going to do some balance, right? And what we know is that balance is an issue for a lot of people, right? Especially as we age. So what I want us to do now is we're going to start super simple. Put your feet as close together as possible and stand there. Anybody having issues with this? No, super easy, right? Let's close your eyes. If you start to wobble, obviously open your eyes and don't fall. How's everybody doing? Good. Anybody feel insecure or unstable? Perfect. All right. Shake it out. Open your eyes. Now, do you know which foot you walk up the stairs with? You're right. So whichever foot you start the stairs with, take that foot, you're going to go forward and just stand on it by itself. Lift your leg to the back. Good. That's pretty good. How's that feel? Pretty little challenging for some. Take the other foot, put it in the front. Does that change? A little wobbly? Take your foot, put it to the outside. Can you get your leg to the outside? Who has tension doing that?
I got tension doing that.
I got tension doing it, right? And now, if we're still doing good, if you need a break, go for it. Now close your eyes. See if that changes anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's a little more difficult for people, right? And so when we think about balance and muscle together and aging and all of those things, we have the cognitive side of it as well as the physical side, and they work in unison. And so if we don't train our brain as much as we train our body and vice versa, and if we do train them, they will work better together, right? And so let's switch legs. Let's go out in front. And sometimes we have imbalances on the other.
Yep,
Good.
I got an imbalance on that side. I could feel it.
Yeah. And then, for me, that going back just caused me to lose balance.
Yep.
There you go. And then let's go out to the side. Good. And if we're having balance at the age we are now, and if we don't do anything about it, where are we going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? On the floor, which we're doing next, which luckily most people in this room are doing stuff about it. So there we go.
Yeah.
And now let's close our eyes.
See, I struggle with this one.
Me too.
Yeah. This foot on eyes closed.
Actually, this one feels better for me. If it's feeling good, can you move your leg around? How does that change? Altering your center of gravity, right?
It's actually easier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with the eyes closed. Good. Yeah. So who had problems with one side over the other?
Me.
Me. Who had problems lifting one leg, whether it was you felt it in that leg you were lifting,
Yep.
or if you felt balance issues?
Yeah.
Me. Right? And we know how many times, who here has practiced balance?
Yoga.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah, that's awesome. There you go. There you go. And honestly, this room has way more balance than most people I've seen. So good job for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we also know, as myself included, Ryan included, we can always improve, right?
Right.
There's always ways to overload. All right. Yeah. You guys good with that? Any questions? Sweet. All right. Now, one of the biggest indicators of health span, lifespan, and just really overall well-being is the ability to get up off of the floor.
So there was this doctor in India, and he wrote his entire thesis on this. So he wrote his thesis, and his prediction was that the ability to get up off the floor and get up without using your hands can predict your lifespan. And so he wrote the thesis. He finished his graduates. He went on to do this study for about 15 years and tested it. And predictably, it's about a 10-year difference in people who can get up off the ground without their hands.
I think he's been on YouTube. He's put
Yeah.
stuff out there.
Yep. Yeah. It was really big, and yeah, it was huge, right? And I remember when I first read that study, I was much heavier and I couldn't do it. And the name of my company is Spite Fitness because do it in spite of yourself, right? And so when I heard that study, I was like, man, and I couldn't do it, and I was like, man. And so I tried. It took me a couple of years to figure it out, right? And again, for me, a lot of it was weight loss. My life got much easier once I lost 100 pounds, and
Same.
yeah, and that's been my journey, and so that was the reason we wanted to talk about this today.
Yeah. To double down on the weight loss thing, I did have a similar journey. I was about 21. I was in college, and I went to class, and I didn't fit in the desk. You guys know those desks that don't shift out? I went to go sit, and my belly didn't fit in the desk. And there was a girl sitting next to me, like this. And it was the most embarrassed I've ever been in my life. And, it's okay, though, because you have to hit rock bottom to bounce up, right? And I didn't know what to do. I had no clue of how to exercise. Like, I played sports, so, like, I knew what the coaches yelled at me to do, but that wasn't fun because it was always punishment, right? And I had a fear of healthy food because it was always, that's what my mom made me eat, not what I chose, right? I had a fear of exercise because my football coach, when I got in trouble, made me run laps and do push-ups. And it was always, I was
Always an excuse.
always an excuse, right? Like, and the centerpiece of your punishment is exercise, and that makes you not want to do it. And I remember just like going home to my apartment, cleaning out my cabinets, and just like not knowing what to do next. I went on the internet, I found some stuff, and it kind of led me down a dark path of eating disorders, blah, blah, blah. But with that being said, I eventually found a spark in a community in the gym, right? And that taught me healthy living, healthy eating, and community. And that, similar to Ryan, I had that moment where I was like, this is what I'm doing. And the fact that I can share it with you guys today and Ryan is awesome. And like he said, I was 21 years old and I couldn't walk up the stairs from the door to my dorm room, right? Like I was out of breath and I was sweaty and I couldn't get off of the floor. And so, as we know, we're all going to fall, right? We're all going to want to go on the floor to play with our kids, our grandkids, our puppies, whatever the case is, right? And so now what we're going to do is we're all going to try to sit down without our hands. All right. Yeah. How's that feeling? Good. Can everybody sit crisscross applesauce? Good. Excellent. Perfect. While we're here, there's a thing called mobility, right? And it's the ability for your body to move. So what we're going to do, let's have our heels right here.
Yeah.
Our knees bent. And all we're going to do is rotate to one side. That's all right. Sorry about that. And then we're going to rotate to the other side.
Oh, this one's tight. See, I fell over. This hip, man.
How is that for everybody? Let's go back. One side's better than the other. Yeah. Can you do it without wiggling and falling back and sit up straight? Can you lean forward?
Yeah, it's in one hip for me too. Yeah.
I'm back.
And then we go back.
And then lean over. How's that feel?
Oh, tight.
Tight. This side's easier? Yeah.
Oh.
Who has one side easier than the other?
Me.
Me. Yeah, let's go back to the middle. Who felt it hard to go to both sides? It was hard, right? And so, things to think about, right? Like stretching is part of fitness. Moving is part, all of these things. So anyway, back to our regular scheduled program. The next step is standing up without your hands, right? And so let's see who can do that.
Hey, you still can do it though, but you still do it.
Yeah!
Yeah! That's awesome.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
I've been doing it up until the last month.
Okay, yeah.
When I hurt my knee.
Oh,
That's
no.
fair.
Because I found that gentleman online.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I even showed my doctor one day, and she could.
Yeah, see?
10 years younger than me.
Yeah, see?
Right.
I know. That when I first read about it and saw about it, I was like, man, I gotta see if I could do that. I couldn't. I was like so inspired. I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this,
Well, now as a gym, I feel like a roly-poly bug.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I was at first too. Yeah, I was like, it was like that roll and then push. Yeah.
Everybody loves roly-poly bugs. So. Yeah. So how was that for you guys? Yeah.
Awesome. So we can mostly move, we're mostly functional, and we mostly have mobility, right? Those are all good indicators. And if there was a challenge, now you just have something to work on, right? That's the way I always look at it. I like competition. So if I'm not good at something, it just means I got to work harder, and I get to work harder, and I get to do that. And,
we got our baseline.
Yeah, we got our baseline, right? And that's what's important. So
what can
we
do?
Another test? We can do another test?
Do you guys want to do another test? I want to know how you can improve. Yeah. All right. So 2 or 1?
2 or 1 1.
2 tests or 1 test? 2?
2, there we go.
All right. So let's start marching. Knees as high as you can.
Yeah,
as
I
high
like
as you
this one.
can. It doesn't matter how high. Just make sure they stay as high as they can for as long as you can. Let's go. Keep up the pace. So what we're testing right now, we're going to talk while we do this, is we're testing endurance.
VO2 max.
And VO2 max, right? And if this starts to get tiring, if you start to develop pain from doing it, right? Think about the motion we're going in, right? It's very similar to walking, going upstairs.
So there was this recent study that I really liked, and there was 3 parts of the body that'll literally dictate how long you're going to live. And what do you guys think those 3 body parts are? It was the heart, the lungs, and the thighs. The thighs, specifically the thighs, because that can dictate how long you can move, how much you can get up and down. It shows that you probably move a lot. A lot of this was done after the blue zones were studied, where all the places in the world people routinely live over 100. And almost all of those people had good heart health, good lung health, and good thighs.
Yeah, we were just in Italy.
Yeah.
Whose legs are starting to not go up as high?
Me?
Who's starting to feel the burn?
Yeah, me.
Who's starting to get a little winded? Yeah. We're going. We're showing everybody where we can start, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm regretting doing squats this morning right
now. All right. And so we can take a break. So we all know where our, right? So we kind of have an idea of something else we need to work on. One of the other big indicators is upper body strength, right? Again, falling is something that happens as we age, right? The ability to get off of the floor is going to be one of the hardest things. If you fall face forward, forbid, we don't want that. You have to be able to push yourself up off the floor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're going to try a push-up. we can do it modified from the knees, or we can do a full one. The idea is we want to be able to control our body down and then push ourselves up and be able to get off the floor. Does that work for you guys? So I'll demonstrate.
So, go.
Here, down, nice and controlled so we're not flopping. Then we're able to push ourselves up, bring our knees, and stand up again.
So, and I always tell people about push-ups. A lot of people think of push-ups as up here or way out here. Think about how you push somebody. How would you push somebody? That's where your push-up should start, because that's where the body wants to brace and hold in.
Yeah.
So, you guys ready for it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. So we're gonna.
Yeah,
whatever floats your boat, right?
Whatever you can do. That's what we're working on.
And we're gonna control ourselves down. And then, when you're ready, push yourself up, sit back on your knees, and stand up.
Yeah.
We're all survivors.
Yeah.
Round of applause for yourselves, guys. Good.
Yeah. I always talk about the importance of upper body strength and being able to get up off the ground, especially with all the fires around here. You know, like it's super important. You know, my sister was up in Paradise when the whole town burned down, and she had to pile her kids in the car and run, and she had to carry 2 of them and get in the car and move. She fled the state. She actually never came back. She drove off. She drove to Kansas and just said, "I'm gone." But after hearing that story, I was like, "Man, I'm glad that you were in shape. I'm glad you're able to do that." After living here in 2017, 2019, and evacuating all the times, it's been really important for me to keep that body strength and keep strong and keep active for those reasons.
Fear is a great motivator.
Yeah.
Fear is a great motivator.
Yeah.
Those kids probably weighed about a half an ounce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that I think about to keep active and stay as my why, right? Because motivation is so fleeting. I can tell you, I get up early to go to the gym, and I don't ever really like it. My alarm goes off, and I'm like, and then I think about why I want to do it. I think about all these things: getting off the toilet, never being helped off a toilet, staying active with my kid. What if there's a fire, right? So I go, and then I go and do it done and get it done. And it's much easier when you reframe it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the next thing we're gonna do.
Oh, another one. Yeah.
Oh, action steps.
No, go on.
No, this is how we
steps.
can get better. How we can improve stuff.
All right.
So
feel free to sit down if you want.
Yeah. Feel free. Yeah.
We're done with the demonstrations.
Yeah. You guys can pull your chairs back. We're back to hanging out and talking. So, yeah.
What was the test that the doctor that you guys were talking about?
Which one?
Was that what we just did?
Get up
What
off the ground.
said?
Get up off the ground.
Without your
Stand
hands.
up and sit down without your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can stand up and sit down without your hands, you're predicted. He predicted you'll live 10 years longer, and so far all of his studies have shown it's right.
Yeah. And so.
Yeah, I mean shoes are optional, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I might take mine off.
Right there. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about action steps you can take now that are free and accessible to everybody. So, like we talked about that study that showed increased lifespan. The easiest thing you can do every day is walk for 30 minutes. So basically get your heart rate up for about 30 minutes, and the easiest, most accessible, cheapest one is walking.
Yeah.
If you can stand up and walk outside your front door for 30 minutes a day, you're going to live a longer life. You're going to feel healthier. It's going to improve your digestion. Like we have miles of intestines, and there's not some like pump system just pushing it through. It's driven by movement. It's driven by us picking our legs up and moving, right? But also raising that heart rate, getting outside, moving a bit. Those are all great things to do. You don't have to have a gym membership to walk.
Right. And other things that are also very helpful, right? Because we know we have to do resistance training. We know community is very important, right? And we know cognitive function is very important, right? So something that I've noticed that really helps is if people either take part-time jobs where they're moving and lifting and communicating with people, like working at the Container Store or something in retail part-time in your retirement, maybe 5 to 10 hours a week, or volunteering at a food bank where you have to lift boxes, you have to talk to the clients, you have to talk to your peers, right? It fosters teamwork, community, animal shelters, whatever it is, but something that forces you to lift things up, carry them places, put them down, and talk to people. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Another good thing that's really good to do that anybody can do, and I should do more of, but everybody should do. And again, referring to the blue zones. And if you don't know what the blue zones are, there's 3 places in the world where people routinely live to be above 100. And the main core tenets are social interaction and social connection, having a purpose, connection with your food, and then like we talked about, getting up and off the ground every day. A lot of them sit on the floor to eat, and a lot of them get up. That means these people in their 80s and 90s are getting up and down 30 times a day. But the one that you guys can do proactively is connection to your food. And what that means in this context, a lot of them garden. A lot of them still harvest their own food. A lot of them still get their own food, which again gets you outside moving, gets you down here, clipping some fruit, pitching, blanking on the word, watering, weeding, all the things that are required to keep a garden up. And there was a study at Harvard that showed the satiety index, which is basically how satiated food makes you feel, how full it makes you feel, is as high as 30% higher on food that you grow and make yourself. So you feel more full eating food that you grow and make yourself. So you'll probably eat less of it, 30% less of it, because you did it yourself, right? And you're getting outside and moving.
And you're getting internal fulfillment, which creates pride, which makes you happier, which helps combat depression, which we know is one of the leading causes of shutting down, right? We also know chronic pain contributes to that. So if we're moving, we have accomplishment, we have good, healthy food, and we get satiated with less, everything's going to come around and we're all going to be happier. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another great thing you can do is just make subtle changes to your diet. So what do you guys think that the average American diet consists of, percentage-wise? Percentage-wise. So,
yes.
Statistically, the average American diet is 60% processed food, 30% animal fats and proteins, and if they're lucky, 10% fruits and vegetables, right? So the number one thing you could do, eat more fruits and vegetables. If half of your plate is fruits and vegetables every day, you're going to lose weight, you're going to feel better, you're going to be more satiated because there's much higher nutrient content. So I'm not the kind of nutritionist that'll ever demonize diet soda or packaged food. But what I will tell you is that packaged food's job is to get you to buy it again. That is exactly what they're doing. And then, is that evil? I don't know, but it's definitely their business model, right? Their business model is to get you to buy more every time, right? And the way they do that is there's actually a marketing term called the bliss point. And that's the correct ratio of salts, fats, and sugars that'll get you to buy that package again or to continue to eat it. And by putting a really low nutrient content in the food, you never actually really feel satiated by that food intentionally. You just want to keep eating it because your body's never getting the signals that it's getting nutrients, right? So all packaged food, that's pretty much its job. And if you go to a grocery store, you'll see that every single aisle is designed to get you to buy packaged food, right? Either through nostalgia or by directly marketing to kids by putting cartoons on it, FOP labeling, which is front of package misleading stuff like whole grains, no hormones, whatever they
Zero
say.
fat.
Zero fat, only 100 grams per serving. And then you look at the serving side and it's like 3 bites. Okay, cool. So there's how many servings in a bag, right? And then every grocery store, the outer layer is all what's called whole foods, right? And whole foods just means foods that don't need an ingredient list because it's just one thing. It's like broccoli doesn't need an ingredient list. Chicken doesn't need an ingredient list. Eggs don't need an ingredient list, right? If 75% of your diet switched to whole foods, you'd feel better, you'd lose weight, you'd have less inflammation, and you'd probably build more muscle and feel better every day. And you'd statistically eat far less because you just feel satiated. Now, does this mean never eat packaged food? No. You got to have balance. If you go on a crazy restrictive kind of diet where you never eat anything you enjoy or never have fun with friends, you won't stick to it.
Right.
You just won't. So 80-20. I always say 80-20. 80% of the time, eat on target. 20% of the time, enjoy your life. Whenever I talk to people about a diet plan, I always pick a night that they can still go out and eat. Like Saturday night, go out and eat with your family or friends. Go and enjoy a meal. Have that cake, whatever it is. Because one meal isn't going to mess up your whole diet. But if you do that all the time, if you get this kind of mindset around guilt around food, like, oh, I ate off diet. Oh, it's bad. And like, oh, I messed up. Well, I already messed up. I might as well have ice cream. And then the next day you're like, well, let's get pizza because whatever. And then Monday comes around and you're like, I don't want to diet anymore. This is dumb. And that's too often what happens, right? We have to eat. Don't feel guilty about food. Food is fuel. The definition of a healthy diet is having enough energy to complete your tasks throughout the day. Now, if your goal is weight loss and muscle gain, processed food and high sugar, it's probably not going to get you there, right? But, I like cookies. I like ice cream. Do I eat them all the time anymore? No. When I was 100 pounds heavier, would I routinely eat like handfuls of cheesecake at a catering event because that was all that was left at the end of the day, like over a trash can at midnight? Because like, oh, I haven't eaten in 6 hours. Yeah, I would, right? Finding that balance is what's important, right?
Yeah. Just as it is with exercise as well, right? And we know, just similar to the grocery store presents an opportunity for us to get resistance training in. So if we know that we want to get jugs of water, right? A big jug of water, or we know that we want to get something heavy, we grab those things first. You put them in your cart. Now you have to push your cart around the outside of the store, so you're walking a perimeter, getting more steps with a cart that has weight. So when we talk about balance and getting the steps in and getting the resistance training in, you can incorporate it into your normal life without having to dedicate that time if that's not your thing. However, if going to the gym is your thing, there are certain things that we do want to hit, right? And it goes into that moderation and doing everything. So you want to be able to do cardiovascular exercise, right? Endurance, which we saw when we were doing our march, right? Some people started to fatigue. Their legs started to drop. They started to get the burn. And that was what, a minute and a half, if that?
I don't think so. Yeah. About 60 seconds, yeah.
Right, if that. And that's okay because we don't do those things. We also know we need to resistance train. Honestly, everybody here seemed pretty strong, which was awesome.
Yep.
But we know as we age, we continuously lose sarcomeres or muscle mass, right? And if we don't resistance train, by the time we are 80, we lose 50%, at least 50% of the muscle mass we had in our mid 30s, okay? So a day or two of resistance training a week is good.
And body weight is totally fine resistance training.
Yeah.
If so, say you want to work on doing squats or even push-ups off the ground. So like say you struggle to do a squat, getting in and out of a chair 10 times in a row is a great starting point. All you need to do, really simple stuff. You can do that in the morning. You can do that every morning. Another one I'm really a big fan of is if push-ups are hard in general, wall push-ups are fine. Keep the hands in, just get to here, set to 10 or 20. As you get better, move to the counter. As you get better, move to the couch. As you get better, move to the ground, right? It's just simple things, right?
Doing what you can.
And I'm a big fan of what's called habit stacking. So habit stacking, if anybody's read Atomic Habits, is basically the concept of take a habit you already have, add the habit you want to work on to that habit. Because the brain's really good at just going on automatic pilot, right? Think about those times that you drive somewhere and you just kind of look up and you're like, oh, I'm here already. right?
Yeah.
About 40% of your day is on autopilot.
Yep.
That's the brain's job, is trying to conserve energy. And it's like, oh, we know what we're doing. Turn off. It
Right.
just turns off, and you do what you're supposed to do, and you're like, what am I
Right.
doing? And so how to like kind of trick that, I always say stuff like, let's take brushing your teeth, for example. Hopefully you guys all brush your teeth a couple times a day. And I heard you say, get your steps in or balance in. One I always recommend is maybe that's when you do 10 squats, is when you brush your teeth, right? Things like that. Maybe do some counter push-ups while you're brushing your teeth. That kind of stuff is how you kind of add a little bit of stuff into your day every day.
Right.
Huh? Yeah.
Push-ups and you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah. That's how you get the one-handed one. No, the idea is that maybe just do a couple when you walk over to brush your teeth, and then you brush your teeth.
Right. And one of the things to add on to the stacking, one of the things I talk about with my patients when we talk about core stability, posture, right? You can do your posture exercises while you drive. So you're on your way to work. How many of us are either driving like this? We're doing one of those, right? That's not great posture.
How about one-handed and distracted?
Yeah, one-handed. I know some of you guys are doing this, right? However, if we decided to hold our shoulders down and back, head up, pelvic tilt, pressurize our core, now everything's engaged and stable. We're getting a nice deep core activation exercise going on while we have to move our legs and our arms and focus on not only engaging ourselves, but the world around us, right? So we're not only working core engagement, posture, we're also increasing what our brain activity, okay? Does that make sense? Just like if you're watching TV, you can stretch like I'm doing now. My forearms are tight. I'm talking to you guys. I'm just stretching out. Some people might think I'm weird, but we're having a good time, right? And so the point of all of that is exercise doesn't need to be daunting. It should be fun and incorporated into your life, right? And it doesn't have to be one thing. You don't have to just lift weights. You don't have to just run. You don't have to do those things to exhaustion, especially if you don't like them. Like Ryan said, he runs what, twice a year, you said?
Yeah, I tested
Right?
twice a year.
He
That's
tests it
it.
twice a year so he knows he can. He does his cardio in other forms, right? But the fact that he can. And the idea is you got to find what works best for you as an individual. Get to that root cause of why you haven't in the past. So find that deeper motivation and incorporate it to your daily life. And everybody's happier. It's simple. But it's not, right? And that's why coaches are important, right? Like when I first started my business, I had no idea what I was doing. So I hired a coach. When I played baseball at a high level, you can't run a game or get better without somebody observing you, right? Having the guidance is something that takes you to the next level.
Yeah. So in my experience, like, I do competitive bodybuilding, and even though I'm a nutritionist, I hired a nutrition coach because I don't want to think about it. I can't be objective. I don't know. Like, I get in my head about things, and I'll be like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And my coach always brings me in grounded. He's like, just follow the plan. Just follow the plan. Just follow the plan. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. But what about? And he's like, just follow the plan, right? And to be fair, every time the couple times a year I go running is when we visit our in-laws, my wife's family. And I don't know. I go running. I'm like, I'll be back. So we've talked about, things to work on. We've talked about what longevity is. We've talked about ways to increase our health span. We've talked about daily tips and tasks. And we did a few actions that kind of showed us where we're at today, right? And that was the point of this talk. We want to talk about longevity. We want to talk about how to increase our health span. We want to talk about what is going to get us there and how to kind of drive that motivation. And for me, it's figuring out a why. And for most people, it's figuring out a why. Like I talked about, my mom, she's really started to get motivated now that she has a grandkid to keep up with, right? Those are the kind of things that get you moving, and like, again, in reference to the blue zones, we talk about purpose and connection. Having those things in life are so important. Right? Yes, diet is important. Yes, exercise is important. Yes, moving every day and staying strong is important, and resistance training is important. But why do you want to do those things? Why do you want to have a purpose? Like, what are you continuing to do? And as cliche as it sounds, once I had a kid, my perspective changed on everything. What kind of life am I leading for my kid? And I did a bodybuilding show last weekend, and I did good. I got a first in a couple seconds, not bad, But the most important part was my kid saw it. He saw it. He was there. He saw it. He knows that it's possible. And I think just last week or the week before, he came in. I was in the shower, and he was like, Daddy used to be fat, right? I was just like, yeah. He's 7 for context. And he was like, were you the fattest man in the world? And I was like, no, but you remember that? He's like, yeah, I remember that. And I was like, all right. I was like, that should, and to me, that was like a big insight. I was like, well, Daddy did something about it and started working out. Daddy lost about 100 pounds. He was like, 100 pounds? How much is that? I was like, it's 2 of you. Like, 2 of me. And he just walked away. And I was like, it was an interesting conversation. Yeah, he was like, oh, and he just left. And I was like,
had to go chew on it.
yeah. But like, that's the kind of stuff that gets me going every day. That's the kind of stuff that gets me moving every day. And I always like to tell people this too. Like, I say I'm a competitive bodybuilder. People assume I spend hours a day in the gym. I spend maybe an hour a day in the gym. And I don't do hours of cardio. I'm not out there like killing myself. I just walk. I just walk every day. If I have some free time, I'll walk for 10 minutes. If I'm going to the store, I park far away, so I have to walk farther. Like I heard you park at Macy's. Great. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? You get a few extra steps in. It really is that simple. It really is about just making subtle lifestyle changes that are sustainable that you can change for the rest of your life. Right? If you just want to change one thing about your diet, just eat more veggies. That's the simplest thing you could do. Just eat some more veggies. You know, um, if at first it means roasting them and covering them in oil and like maybe put some cheese on them that gets you to eat them, great. Still a healthier option, right? If you're more likely to eat a salad if you put like crushed up potato chips on it or like fried tortilla strips, if that's getting more veggies in your life, great. That's a success, right? Like there is no black and white. It's not like, oh, you have to eat kale and whatever disgusting things you don't like for the rest of your life, right? Mm-hmm. You can just eat some more veggies. Like it's that simple, right? For me, the big first step was like, I really like tacos. So instead of having tortilla wraps, I just started doing taco salads. Yeah, I did, cabbage slaw with a little bit of cilantro and lime and some onions. And then, now I'm to the point where I like roasting sweet potatoes in with the meat and like that's kind of my taco salad. And it really just is kind of figuring out those little subtle changes that are going to get you there.
Right. And the same can be said about pain, right? And this chronic pain and residual and things that keep coming back. It's like there's not one big boom, this is fixed, right? There's little changes that you incorporate, postural exercises while you drive, breathing techniques that you do, getting to the root cause of why you're experiencing that pain, right? And truly understanding the why behind everything so you can make tiny changes to incorporate into your life to get rid of it for the long term rather than trying to do big massive things that don't work and you get frustrated after about 6 weeks. Does that make sound good to you guys? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions about what we went over?
All right. What are your takeaways? All right.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. You have any?
No, you're building on what you're doing.
Yep.
That's excellent.
Yep.
Absolutely excellent. Positive moves.
Yeah.
Add two things.
Yeah. Awesome. Aaron?
What about mental health and the state of who you are and
Physical health.
So
Yeah,
super important.
physical helps. Explain. Can you ask that one?
okay, doing activities that will send you to hell might not be the best thing to be doing, but activities that like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll speak from my experience. My mental health was in the trash, right? When I didn't take care of my physical health. And, for me, when I'm stressed out or not really feeling that great, I just go to the gym and then I feel a lot better. And for me, it's like kind of meditation. And same when I'm stressed out, I just go on a walk. And really helps with my mental health. And again, my spiritual health too. A big part of my spiritual practice is just being able to be active and be fit has really changed my perspective on how things feel. And my overall mental health has increased. My spiritual health has increased. I know I feel like I ate a bunch of sugar after my competition on Saturday and I felt hungover and like brain fog and like tired. And I was like, oh. But I also ate like an entire bag of cookies and Reese's peanut butter cups. And, that's what happens when you restrict yourself for way too long. As soon as I had sugar, it was like I couldn't stop, right? That's why that balance of 80-20 works. But, for me, it took me like 4 or 5 days to get my head out of the trash can and just be like, oh, it's fine. It's just how you ate. It's like so obvious when I eat poorly how much my mental health and physical health go down.
Yeah.
Did I answer it? Okay.
Getting to the
But the important part is also taking care of your mental health. I've also found that like meditation for me, like 10 minutes a day around my like exercise practice is really important for my mental health.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, reflection has been really important, and taking things that people say to me and trying not to internalize them and get advice from people I trust. Talk therapy helps, and then when I do go to exercise, I can think about. I have a subject to meditate on, right? And so I talk to my therapist. Honestly, Ryan has been a pretty big help in my personal development as of the last couple of weeks or months. And when you go on your runs or you go on your walks, it gives me something to chew on, right? I also go and play rugby, and that gets all of the out. So then I'm a little more clear. And so, yeah, exercise and all those things, and then not being upset at yourself when you do have a misstep, right? Yeah, because like Ryan was saying, like he lost 100 pounds. I did too, and I have similar. I'm not a bodybuilder by any stretch, but like I'll go on a little bit food bender, right? And I'll have a food hangover, and it's one of the things I'm working on is not beating myself up because I did it. I don't necessarily spin out to where I go like way off the rails for the next 3 months, but it's now, right? Because this has been a 12-year journey for me. But I do get in this like cycle of, oh, dude, you're ruining it. What'd you do? Well, like mad at myself. And being able to bring yourself back to, okay, I can control the time I spend on a walk. I can control how I view myself, although it's hard, right? And I can control what I eat for my next meal. Kind of helps bring you back to that, okay, I did that. I accomplished this. This is what I can do. You know what I mean? And it's layering. Like one sheet of paper, you can step on and never notice it, right? But if you stack up 1,000 pieces of paper, it's pretty heavy and in the way.
Yeah. And one thing I learned about my mental health too is, you know, I have a lot of patterns from childhood that served me then that still come up all the time. And being able to recognize them, right? Like my biggest challenge around mental health is like not feeling good enough, right? And that's why part of the reason I do bodybuilding, part of the reason I care about my aesthetic, part of the reason I, portray an attitude of being bigger than life is because I'm trying to fix that broken child inside of me. And what's changed today is how long I let it run my life. Like those patterns still come up, but now it's like I recognize them within 30 minutes. I'm back under my control, right? As opposed to like days or months or years of letting it run my life. And that's just the truth for me, Yeah.
Right. Next.
Takeaways?
That's a great conversation.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey,
Nice.
welcome to the club. I guess we're all in the same club. Yeah. Lisa?
I think good tips. I mean, we just be able to do it together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having that same focus. Eat more vegetables. We need to do that. I need to do that. Mark takes salad at lunch every day.
Perfect.
Stop doing fast. I work with a functional medicine doctor.
Oh, nice.
Or, PA, it's also a chamber member.
Oh.
But that's helped. I've been working with her. Well, we both have because we both went on a cleanse first, and like 3 years ago, I've lost 25 pounds. And
nice.
Hormones are better.
Nice.
Supplement. Just trying to, like you're saying, get to the root cause, not just a pill that you get from conventional medicine.
Right.
So, I know this has been great. I'm glad.
All right.
What type of doctor? It's a functional medicine, so it's like a naturopath. Okay. So they get to like what Dr. G does. You get to the root cause of what's causing it, not just.
You guys do anything with iodine?
Well, she's a patient.
I understand.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
No, I understand. But she's been with him.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I'm gonna shut up and mind my business.
She might look into it. Anyhow.
Awesome.
Iodine. Where is she located? Sebastopol?
No, she works out in Novato and
Okay.
Nice.
Nancy Boston, FX Go to the Roaring Park Chamber website, you'll find
little shout out.
Boston, BAHNSEN. She's been doing it for a long time. She's went to Duke and she's been doing it for a long time.
Nice. What about takeaways over here? You got a takeaway, Rochelle?
Yeah, I appreciated the part. I think we kind of went quickly over it, but I really appreciated about social interaction and teamwork because even for folks that are consider themselves like introverted or socially awkward, I think just by like the core of our made sure we knew each other in some way. And so I used to try to go to like big box gyms. Not that there's any problem with those because it's affordable and there's lots of stuff you can get done. But I really missed community. And when I started to fall into like more community-based, like active groups, whatever it is, I got so much out of it that that's what really changed my life in a big way was community around whatever it was I was working on. Whether it was like fitness or mental health, just having that really did a lot for me. So I appreciated that when you said like volunteering or finding like a part-time job where you have to talk to people too. Probably does something for us in our brains that we're not even aware of. Besides, it's just nice to talk to someone sometimes. But anyways.
No, thank you. Thank you.
We just recently watched the Blue Zone. So
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
They have a little mini series on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's really
Did they
good.
just cover 2 Blue Zones?
No, I think there's like
Yeah,
eight of them.
yeah. There's a lot of them.
So it's like a lot of good like reminders of
Mhm.
just like being well and moving your body and kind of like incorporating the small things which end up being the big things when they're layered together. Just like
Well, and you guys are young, so to hear this when you're young, like I'm old, I'm 62, so I got on a,
You're young too.
But I mean, to start when you're younger, because in our age, it's different. So it's great that you guys are hearing this now and
make it like a
start those small habits now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like when I did when we were there, like I wish I would have known this.
Yeah. I drink a lot of Diet Coke. I don't drink that anymore. Stuff like that you just,
I have a Diet Coke. I have a Diet Coke once in a while.
Well, my daughter's a big diet, but we had her work with the functional
Yeah.
medicine first, just to, get those tidbits, because it's hard when you're younger, and
Yep.
you're already in pretty good, you don't have all those things, you don't have the end where you're like, okay, I need to get better now.
Yeah.
Before
Too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
I know that's like most of the clients that come to me are because the doctor was like, you need to do something or else. And like that's not where you want to start.
Right.
I mean, it's great that you are starting at that point, but it's much easier to get before that, But that's usually like majority of my clients that come to me is because the doctor was like, it's time or else, Takeaways from you or you?
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, just more motivated to
That's awesome.
do the things that I knew need to do. That you guys have been reminding me and teaching me more stuff, on top of that, more tips.
Awesome.
Squats.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before you floss.
I do, and I do it like this. I do it when I floss or
Okay.
with the feet flat.
Yep.
On the floor.
Yep.
Not like most people, when they squat deeply, or they try to, they just have on their tips. So you're like flat, so it engages your tips.
Mm-hmm.
Ankles.
So again, same thing. When I first learned about that, I couldn't do that either. And when I start working with clients, a lot of them will tell them to squat and they'll struggle. And I was like, don't worry, you will be able to soon. And most of them look at me. And most of them look at me like, all right, you're crazy. And then once they hit that point, I have this 54-year-old construction worker. When he came to me, he couldn't squat. He couldn't do a lot of things. And he came to me because he's the sole income for his house. And he was like, I need to keep working to support my wife and kid. And, now after a couple of years of working with him, he was telling me, and this is like a great testimonial. He's a framer, and he was like, I was doing flooring the other day, and I spent 6 hours in this position, outworking all of my employees that are half my age, and I stayed down here all day just working, and when he came to me, he couldn't squat to save his life.
That's
and
amazing.
Those are the kind of things that exercise and subtle changes to diet can make a huge difference in.
Are those barefoot shoes?
Basically,
Yes.
they're called Wittens
Amazon.
on Amazon.
It's the same ones I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're great. They're yeah. So there's only
WHITN.
like 8 or 9 manufacturing plants in China that make all the shoes. So those Vibrams that are 3 or 4 times as much as these shoes are made at the same facility, and then they just sell these for less on Amazon. Witten, WHITIN.
Yep. They're like
They're about
$30.
30, $40. I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're phenomenal.
And they're wide toe, open box. Yeah.
And now they have a bunch of
If you're not
different
used to a
styles.
leash like that, certainly don't go the distance walking it.
Yeah, no, I bring them in, you know.
Yeah, you get used to them. Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we all had some really great takeaways.
Jessica?
Just pretty much like all about the same. Like, I think it was a good reminder about like the simplest things that you can do in daily life.
Mhm.
I think everybody kind of gets caught up in like the basics, like go to the gym and do this workout, but
Mhm.
you can do some simple stuff just at home to get that habit stacking and get like your everyday life.
That's
So
awesome.
my favorite quote about that is anything worth doing is worth doing half-assed. Right?
That's
You know,
real,
it doesn't have to
actually.
be an hour at the gym. It doesn't have to be some crazy killer workout. If it's 5 minutes, cool. You know what I mean? If you only have 30 seconds to brush your teeth, that's better than not brushing your teeth. It's worth doing. It's worth doing half-assed.
The one thing you didn't mention, I think, I coach at a high school level. I tell my kids, to process foods as best I can, but I also tell them about water intake and hydration.
Yes,
And
you're right. I did miss that. Yeah, it was on our list.
Yeah.
So, and this one's always good, especially if your goal is weight loss. When you're losing fat, where does the fat go?
It just shrinks, doesn't it?
It's still physical matter in your body that has to go somewhere.
Your urine.
Yep, you pee out most of the fat. So if your goal is fat loss, water intake is super important. Yeah, water is important for a lot of reasons, right? Like staying hydrated keeps your brain functions, right? You know, as little as 1% dehydration can lead to a 20% level of fatigue and 20% level energy loss, right? So the average person does pretty good around 100 ounces of water a day. More than that if you're active or in the sun.
I think a good start point is half your weight.
That's why.
And then, but you can do more than that. But that is a start point. And there's no reason you shouldn't be carrying one of these around constantly.
And speak of habit stacking, the way I've learned to get a bunch of water in is before I go to bed, I put a big glass of water next to my bed. So I wake up, drink it in the morning. I know I take some vitamins in the morning. Every time when I drink those vitamins, I drink a full thing of water.
How many ounces do you drink in the morning?
About 32. Yeah, and then
16 down.
Yeah. And then I have my pre-workout, which I keep separate. Then I have some post-workout, which I keep separate. And I just kind of time it throughout the day. And every time I'm about to eat a meal, I drink a large glass of water first, and then wait a few minutes to see if I was actually hungry or just thirsty. And if I wasn't actually hungry, I just move on with my day. Or also drinking before you eat a meal, it's going to make you feel full sooner.
Do you incorporate your pre and your post as part of your water intake?
Yep.
Your numbers? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Caffeinated things tend to not be as much as water intake. Yeah.
Also magnesium depletes.
Yeah, it can. And having a good balance of electrolytes and then if you're worried about water retention or bloating, the easiest way to combat that is to make sure that your sodium and potassium levels are a 3-to-1 ratio. So if your sodium's, say it's 1,000 milligrams a day. If your potassium's 3,000 milligrams a day or above, you're not going to retain water and the body's not going to bloat up a ton. It's just one of those things that you learn.
Geez, well, I've never done any supplementation. I never got bloated from water.
Yeah.
Maybe just as a kid being busy all the time.
Yeah. Well, actually, potassium supplements aren't really great for you. It's just about eating healthier. So sweet potatoes, bananas, coconuts, actually game meat has potassium in it, like venison and wild turkey. Tends to have pretty high levels of potassium in it. And there's a lot of things that, beans are really good in potassium, especially kidney beans. And so just eating more of a well-rounded diet is going to prevent all these things.
Yeah.
How did all of y'all hear about this?
We were at a functional movement performance company doing recovery.
Nice.
I have her working on my knee and my hip, and we're working on movement there. And walking in the door on last Thursday, doctor was coming and opening the door. Who are you guys? Oh, we're here for Angelica.
Yeah.
So that's how we found him. She had it posted on her front door.
Yeah.
That's where he works.
Yeah, that's where my office
That's
is.
where his office
Oh, where is it?
It's in Katati.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So on Aaron Street, actually.
Go down the front Davidson and past the paint store, take a left and they're right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sonoma backyard, yeah. Which,
We were looking downtown for her one day.
oh yeah, we used to be there.
That was the old.
That was the old one. Yeah,
They got great space.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, Dr. G, can I do a testimony? I'm not a client, but I run the Rumford Chamber of Commerce, and he's one of my chamber members. But we did, so he does a free, correct me if I'm wrong, consultation, which I need to sign up for.
That was the next
Some of
step,
our
actually.
chamber members, fellow chamber members have, we did a ribbon cutting with them when they opened their space.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just learning what he does and on our health journey, it's like, okay, that's just the another step in it, just to add to it.
Yeah.
But, no,
Finding
it's,
all kinds of new people through the county.
Yeah. And that actually is a great segue into the next step, which is the offer.
Right?
And as a thank you for everyone coming out here today, I'm going to go through mine and then Ryan will go through what he's going to offer. A lot of you guys are already patients and I love that. So thank you guys for showing up and supporting. I really appreciate you guys. But for those of you who are not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer a free discovery visit and a phone call. And what we do during that time is we'll jump on the phone, we'll talk a little bit more, I'll learn more about your specific issues and what's bothering you. And I'll have an idea of whether I can help you or not, right? And if I can, I'll absolutely let you know. The next step after that is a free discovery visit. During that discovery visit, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to follow up, make sure I got everything understood from our phone call. And then we're going to put you through a few tests. We're going to have a digital assessment as well as some active tests similar to what we did here with a lot more detail. And that's going to help us get to the root cause of what's bothering you and why, right? Like, you mentioned your knee. So we're going to figure out exactly what's affecting that knee, right? And at that point, I'll let you know, hey, this is what's going on. These are the muscles that are not engaging. These are the muscles that are over-engaged. This is what I would do to help you. And then if you would like guidance on that, we can talk further. But because you're here, all the information you need to, I'm here to provide information for you. And if that's something that interests you, after we're done with this workshop today, please come see me and we'll set up that call. And we'll get the ball rolling.
Yep. And same with me. I have a private training gym and I'm a nutritionist. So whether you need a workout plan, a diet plan, or want to start some training and start getting more physically active, or just aren't sure where to start, I'm offering all a free consultation as well. It's about an hour visit. We can kind of go over a movement plan, kind of see where you're at physically, kind of check your physical endurance, and then kind of figure out what needs to be worked on about your diet. And for the most part, if you just come and do that one free visit and move on and change your life, I'm extremely happy. Like, that's all I care about. I want to help people, right? Through movement and food, I transform lives. And going through my own journey and helping other people is really what matters to me. So I want to offer that information for free. And then if you decide that you want to continue working with me, or if you just need a diet plan, that's something I offer as well. And whether it's remote, Zoom, through a coaching app, or on my website, we can do all that too. Or we can train in person, as Rochelle knows, right? Rochelle's one of my favorite clients. She came to me.
Favorite.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. You have a whole section on the board with just your numbers, right? You know.
Oh, I know who
Do
you
a
are.
quick plug. I actually just happened to find Ryan on TaskRabbit, so it's just by, is that what it is? No.
Thumbtack.
Thumbtack. TaskRabbit's different.
Same thing, same concept. Yeah.
Things out there.
Yeah.
Anyways, just got really lucky and super, you could see both these humans, a super dynamic person who has like a lot to offer, all different kinds of people that he works with, and I feel really lucky that I've gotten to work with him. I could talk forever about it, but just like the feelings that come. I don't need to talk about all the specifics, but I just feel really blessed that I've gotten to work with Ryan. It's changed a lot of how I carry myself, my general confidence, and also the strength in my body, lack of injury as I've been developing. So anyways, I just feel
That's awesome.
So if you're, yeah.
Thank you.
If you're interested in setting up a free consultation, same thing. Reach out to me, grab my card, set up a time with me, and come to my gym, and we kind of figure out a plan for you.
So where are you?
I'm in Santa Rosa.
Oh, you're in Santa Rosa.
Yeah, I'm in Santa Rosa. Yeah. So, and again, if that it's too far, I also do Zoom and remote, but it's much funner to do it in person. Kind of see where we're at and get physically active again, right? And again, you know, I write recipe books every month. I write meal plans every month. I take my chef background and put out about 15 recipes per month with a meal plan and a shopping list. So that's one of the services I provide that I really like doing because I still want to use all that chef background knowledge, right? So, you know, I have, you know, high protein recipe books, low carb recipe books, vegan recipe books. One of my favorite ones is people tell me, oh, I don't have time to cook. So I have a 5 ingredient recipe book where every recipe book is 5 ingredients. So don't tell me you don't have time anymore. It's 5 ingredients. Come on, let's go. And you know, they all come with meal plans and shopping lists, so you don't even have to think. You can just go to the grocery store and be like, I'm gonna buy these things.
Or your thing, like you can buy your recipe books off your
You can totally buy my recipe books off the website. Majority of them are running for sale right now for like $9. Or if you join the membership site for $19 a month, I post new ones every month along with workout plans and diet plans. Yep. And do group weekly coaching calls, and then I occasionally run monthly challenges. And yeah, that's what I like to do. So personal training, nutrition plans, or some online support, whatever that is, I'm here to help.
Just to kind of finish up, forgot I didn't really go into details. My appointments are an hour long. We go through whatever passive care modalities you need to do. We assess you as a whole each visit to know exactly where we are at that time, right, as we progress. And then we finish off with exercise and video so you can take that with you to go for the long term. So, yeah.
He got me deadlifting pain-free. I told you guys about that back injury where I disintegrated my back. I did a few sessions with Aaron, and just before I came here, I squatted with weight on my back, I benched, and I deadlifted all this morning. And then I came here and gave this presentation. You know, and it's all pain-free now. It took me years. You know, I tried all the different things to get pain-free, but a couple sessions with him, we figured out what was wrong. I was doing it wrong.
That's what I need to figure out.
Oh.
Yep.
To sign.
Do I have to sign, like, give my information if I'm interested?
Oh.
Just send her your card. Give me your card.
What?
Yeah.
There you go. And I'll give you a call later. Tomorrow, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm so sorry. Just
No worries. No
Yeah,
worries.
totally.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for coming
the real thing
out.
is really just giving out information, right? Like I just want to teach people, right? Like regardless of signing up clients, like I just like telling people how to help them.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the heart comes.
Yeah.
Right? And then people, you're not just trying to sell somebody.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, I could do this all day, like hang out and talk to people. As you guys know, I would get caught up and.
I know this is your 4th workshop in 4 weeks.
Yeah. I've been getting after it. Yeah, it's been fun. So
it's because soon you guys are going to see us on big stages. You know, one of my long-term goals is I'm going to be on TED Talk in 2025. You know, and so I've been practicing, and so a lot of this is like getting ready and envisioning myself on that stage. And like talked a little bit about mental health. Like I like to do screen of the mind. I meditate and think about what I'm going to do and where I'm going to be and visualize it and try to picture how I'll feel on that stage, right? And so every step there is a step closer. Awesome. If there are any other questions? Awesome. Cool, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
I appreciate you guys.
I really
coming on
appreciate
Saturday.
that. Did you guys all get something out of this? We didn't just like, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Walk a little bit more. Eat some veggies.
You got stuff out of it? All right, cool. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I'm so excited. That was awesome. That was really fun, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have some HIPAA paperwork for you
Yes.
that when you're free, you can come over or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know if you're
Uh,
doing it together.
yeah,
As a
yeah, yeah.
chamber, what we do, one thing we do is
the
follow people's social media
second week in
pages. So if you're on
September
Facebook and
is
Instagram, we'll share a lot
I'll
of your
be
posts.
back and ready for action.
Huh?
You messaged me recently.
Oh,
Yeah, do you
okay, I
wanna
did.
set
Okay,
up
that's
the-
right.
Yeah.
You want
I
to set
just
it
started
up?
doing that on Instagram.
Cool.
People start
Yeah.
following us.
Follow me back up.
Okay.
And then I'm like,
forget.
yeah, I will. I will. I
Call-
got your card.
Sunday? Tomorrow?
Membership dues are only $27.50 a month.
Do you want to call?
Cheap.
Like
Yeah.
jump
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a call
No
and then we
additional
can
fees.
set everything up tomorrow?
Cool.
$30.
I'm super interested. When do you
What
guys
time
meet?
works for you?
We have
actually, I'm
weekly
gonna be out
networking
and
events,
about.
but you don't have
Okay.
to come to any of them.
Mhm.
So it's
Maybe
not
I
like
should
G&I
just-
I
or
like
Rotary.
networking. Yeah, yeah.
So on the first Wednesday, we do our stuff on
I could set
Wednesdays.
up-
First
Mhm.
Wednesday of the month, we have a
Yeah.
luncheon. The third Wednesday
I
of the
don't.
month, we
Well,
have
my
a
phone's over
breakfast.
there. I can.
And all the other
if,
Wednesdays,
doesn't-
we
if
do
we
a
jump on a
networking
call
mixer.
tomorrow, if
Cool.
you want to just call me,
So at just different businesses.
and then
Cool.
that way.
Like-
Bye. Have a good one. Enjoy
Yeah.
your trip.
Great meeting you guys.
You're welcome.
Where are you guys going?
Santa Cruz.
Oh yeah, that's
You
right.
just
That's
call me
right. That's right.
tomorrow,
There was I was trying to remember. There's a Thai
I can-
place over
I'll have
there.
my
So like, there's
calendar
the
in front of me.
boardwalk, and then like
and then I
a
can
couple
give you a better
blocks
answer.
in from the away
'Cause I
from the
can make
coast.
time
There's
for
like
you.
a Thai place over there.
All
That's
right.
like amazing.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
was
okay?
looking on.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
guys going there right now?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be
Uh-huh.
there for just 3 days, but yeah, we're gonna hang out there.
Big pain.
Nice.
In the
I
left?
never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've never been to the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
We can work on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll run you through a little thing.
I like the
All right,
I like
bye,
the
Aaron.
long
Have a good
one, the
one.
one that goes over
Thank you.
everything.
The gondola.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right. See you Monday. Have a great
It's like
rest of your
very
weekend.
scenic, you know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of summed up.
That should be
Okay.
fun. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for
Very good to meet you
Thanks,
too.
guys.
everything.
Yeah, totally.
We'll be down.
If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Like several days.
Awesome.
Okay.
We've signed up for an
Yeah,
hour.
practice. It's just
Oh,
practice.
nice.
It's
Two-
practice.
45
Yeah.
This was
for a
why
Yeah, yeah.
I started
That's awesome.
7-8 years ago.
Very cool.
Yeah, totally. Nice meeting you, Aaron.
Is tomorrow a good time to call and kind of run through stuff, or Tuesday?
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
kind of started it on his,
I'm gonna go.
What was that,
over to
2018?
F-45 in the morning.
We go from 7 to 8.
No,
Yep.
tomorrow's 8:00.
Oh,
It was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you, Jessica.
Tomorrow's good.
Have a good
Let me
one.
grab my phone and I
Yeah.
can check.
Same time. Okay.
No, I'm
you just
saying.
want to say bye.
What,
Oh,
what do you
bye.
think has
Good
been most
seeing you,
influential
Lisa.
to
Thank you
help
for
lose the
coming.
weight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
All right.
really.
I'm gonna grab my phone just to see my schedule for
Okay.
Sunday, and then so
Yeah,
we can
it
plan
never
the
is.
call a little bit. Does that work for you?
Well, I
Yeah.
did some
Drastic.
intermittent fasting
Mhm.
to get started, and then changed up